Welcome to the Critically Coolest. I'm the Monk, and today I'm in Wasteland 3 doing a party composition guide. So basically, I'm going to tell you or walk you through how to set up a full team of rangers. I'm even going to go over companions as well, or the two that I like to bring with me. And basically, just hopefully help you guys in the end game. Now, the first guy I want to mention is my Brawler. Now, this is Iron Fist. I've actually done a complete setup, a complete guide on how to actually make this guy. He is completely overpowered. He works on every single difficulty, and I honestly feel that a brawling character is possibly the best melee guy you can get. Now, as you can see, we have gone for max coordination. Coordination is so important with this character because for every AP that he has is basically an extra hit. Now, when it comes to skills, we have got Animal Whisperer. You guys don't actually have to have Animal Whisperer. This is just my setup and what I needed for my game. And the same with, say, nerd stuff as well. Now, Weird Science I need because I needed it for the current armor that I'm wearing. And of course, I've gone for one in First Aid and one in Animal Whisperer. I've got a few additional perks that you kind of just get as you run through, but I think Striking Distance is a really good perk to double up with your brawling. It does work, I've shown it works, and of course Flurry of Blows is absolutely amazing as well. It basically means that this brawling character, it's why it's so good. Now, I've gone for the Animal Whisperer perks because I've gone for Animal Whisperer. This guy actually has the Honey Badger. Honey Badger is probably the best animal tame you can get in the game. And I've also got Emergency Response and a few other little perks to boot. Now, like I said, this guy is so good. I'm showing you the stats of currently what I'm using. I'm not going to do a complete build guide. But as you can see, I've got the exoskeleton suit as well, and I even done a video on how to find that exoskeleton suit. And I have got the power gauntlet and the plasma fist as well. And that is basically my setup for my brawler. My Iron Fist, I've pretty much got videos for everything you're seeing in this, so if you don't know where something is, you could always check them out. But this guy works so well. So the next one, we have got a heavy gun. Now, this is actually the heavy gun build that I showed you in a video a little while ago. This is the exact build, the exact setup. I think having a heavy gun option on your team is really good. They can really do crowd control so well, especially when you double that with either some kind of rocket launcher or, of course, a flamethrower. As you can see, I've gone for the skull cap helmet on this build, but of course something may work better for you. This is the exact attributes that I've put on. I think intelligence is so important for the crit value, especially on the bigger guns that you're using. And of course I've gone for Pyromaniac and Explodomaniac. It really helps make this build really work so well. Max on big guns, max on explosive, max on toaster repairs. That's mainly because, of course, I've gone for flamethrower as well for that optional in. Don't forget, it doesn't actually cost you any points at all to change out weapons in a game. So keep that in mind because you may well come across a weapon that works well in one situation. The only thing you're going to have to remember is that you will need to reload the weapon. That, of course, will cost you AP, but hopefully you've got max coordination. And don't forget, on this build, pumping up Weird Science can also really help. Perk-wise, here is my basic setup as well. Now, obviously, these two ones in the middle for Flamethrower would also be incredibly beneficial. But unfortunately, I couldn't fit them in my actual build. But the build itself still works really well. I've gone for more explosive perks. Whereas maybe I'd put a couple of those up into that top line. That could definitely be something that we could look at doing. It's just for me and my playthrough as I was playing through it, I needed what I needed, and so this is the way I went. But every single build, like I've said 100 times in all my videos, every build can be tweaked to fit you, your game, your layout, and how you need it to roll. And Structural weakness is really, really good, especially if you're on flamethrower. Basically, what it means is you get a debuff when you're using flames against machines, so that just helps counteract that small bonus, small damage debuff you're going to have. And again, the toast repair fits so well with flamethrowers. So it's worth noting this end perk too, Toasty, that will also work for other guns, obviously, not just flamethrowers, but I think the synergy works really well. Third up, we have the sniper rifle. Now, of course, you could have Jodie Bell, in which case she's a very good sniper, so maybe you don't need a sniper rifle actually in your ranges. But this is my setup. This is Winchester. I've done a build for him as well. I think the Commandant's helmet is probably the best helmet in the game because it adds that 15% critical hit chance, which is just absolutely massive. And then, of course, because he's a sniper, he doesn't have the health, he doesn't have the strength. So just make sure that you put on the best possible armor that you can possibly do. As you can see, I've put the Star of Bravery on this guy as well. It just helps pump him up that extra bit. And then the two sniper rifles we got are both energy weapons. So having points into weird science would really be incredibly beneficial for this build. Now, I found that I think the best sniper rifles in the game appear to be energy. Now, unfortunately, you get a debuff against certain things because of that. But if you have the points, you could counter that, or at least you could do it with, you know, a few of the things and get buffs in other areas. Now, of course, coordination is a must. Even with max coordination, you're probably not going to get off those 2 shots that maybe you're looking for, depending on what build you've got. But it definitely helps. High intelligence is a must. It's probably the one thing in this build that I think you need to have, of course, with awareness as well. It's really for that crit value. As you can see on this character, I've gone for max lockpicking as well. I think put in sneaky shit on a sniper build or even an explosive build just to start the battle off. It goes so well. It goes hand in hand. It is kind of a must, especially on the harder difficulties. It's just a great way to actually, you know, start the battles off. As you can see, this is the weird science. I've only managed to put 3 points into it. Obviously, I've got 3 maxed out stats, so it was quite point heavy. Therefore, I couldn't afford it, but maybe you haven't got the lock picking, so maybe you can afford those extra points. For perks, we have kind of got a splash of everything. We have a few perks that you kind of pick up through the game. We have got all of our sniper rifle perks, and of course on sneaky shit we have the final perk as well, ambush, which in the middle of a battle is absolutely devastating. We also have emergency response. But there you see, lights out, it gives you a 200% damage bonus. That's absolutely massive. It's definitely something to use and use a lot. I think the best thing I can say about it is that it's not just for a sniper rifle. You can use it for explosives as well. Anyway, moving on to my next one, we have got Mustang. Now, he is my trooper. Early game, I feel like he benefits better from assault rifles. Late game and as you move through middle game, I think you can transition quite nicely to submachine guns with this build. Now, I have gone for the PDW. Now, that is an explosive build. It uses explosive energy. I think that that's really good. If you put explosive into this character, it really buffs up those stats. And then points wise, or sorry, armor wise, you can kind of do the best armor that you can get. Maybe even this is one for the nuclear armor, real late game. This is the exact build that I've used in a video recently, actually for this build. And as you can see, high intelligence again is a key factor. We have got high strength, we've got good awareness, and of course high coordination. If you notice, I also had serial killer. That goes so well with a perk that we've got too. We've gone for level 10 in automatic weapons. We've put a lot of points in explosive, basically as many as I could actually afford, because I want to pump up my submachine gun damage. And then we've got our 6 points in survival. We've got the weird science to pump up potentially any other weapon you get. Now, like I said, the energy weapons seem to be pretty good late game. And of course, you can switch depending on what kind of enemies that you're facing. I've also got 3 points into mechanics, 1 in Animal Whisperer and 1 in First Aid. That's kind of a standard layout for my late builds just because of the damage buffs, and if you can get those damage buffs to be stacking, I personally feel that it's so important to do, and why not? You know, it just makes the battles that much easier. Perk-wise, we have got Healthy, we have got Weathered. The Weathered is pretty good, you know, the crit resistance. We've got Gopher Hunter in automatic weapons. I think for an early perk, this is possibly the best early perk to get. Punctured is also a really good perk to get. I didn't pick it on this one, but especially for assault rifle build, early game, it's absolutely great. Reckless, Double Tap are also really good perks. Now remember, for this build, I have been using both. So I've been using an assault rifle and I've been using a submachine gun. And that's why I've got, you know, the extra perks here. Like I said, I think if you've got a trooper build from the beginning, I think assault rifles is the way to go, because early build, I think submachine guns is a bit too unreliable, doesn't deal enough damage. But with trigger happy, once you get them to trigger happy, you switch to submachine guns, you get an extra 15% for not being in cover, and you've got serial killer to top that off. You're going to be doing some serious damage. You're going to be doing for quite a few different attacks, you know, every single round. I think this build is absolutely amazing. It's fast becoming my favorite build, actually, to be honest with you, and I feel like I'm going to start using it in my actual playthrough as well. I've got structural weakness. And like I said, I've got that with Big Game Hunter as well. This is basically for those damage stacks that I feel that are so important on the higher difficulties especially. And that's it really. That is my trooper build. You can find a exact build for him. I'll go into a little bit more detail about him. But you shouldn't need it. Like I said, I did show you all the stats anyway. And that is it. That is our Rangers. So that's just the Rangers. It can be tweaked. I feel like if you don't want a sniper, you could actually have Jody Bell as your sniper. And then maybe that lends you in for someone else. You could do another melee maybe. I think another trooper would do very good as well. It really is up to you and how you feel that you want to play it. Because that's the thing about this game. There are so many different ways to actually make these builds. It's all about personal preference. So when it comes to companions and the guys that you actually pick up, my favourites so far, the ones that I feel like have worked the most, especially considering the Rangers that we've actually got. I like Scotchmo for the shotgun. I think that's kind of obvious. You can get him quite early game as well, which is what I quite like about him. Obviously he's got the shotgun. For pistols, I've actually given him the quickfire mag for the 2 shots. 2 AP per shot. I think that goes quite well on Scotchmo. I think you can obviously have the shotgun for absolutely devastating crowd control, but when you want to be precise, you've got that pistol as well. Now these are the stats that I've ended up with. Obviously your stats may be completely different. I think high coordination is quite important. I think intelligence is also important. I think you should get his strength up to 8 personally, and after that it really depends on how late into the game or how early into the game you actually got him. As you can see, I'm using him for my hard ass, so he gets me through a few dialogue options. I've maxed small arms, and he has done good in nerd stuff and mechanics. And he's also got a little bit of lockpick as well. But I think that's when, like I said, it really does depend with this guy how and when you pick them up, considering what level they are and what points have been put where. But I think Scotchmo is definitely worth having. I think his shotgun ability is really good. I think that he's got a lot of points wasted in melee as well, though. But if you're going to do it, make sure you get Devastation, because on shotgun builds, Devastation just makes it work just that much more. For my very last companion, I've actually got Fishlips. Now, Coregate could have been one that I liked as well, but because I have got Iron Fist and he's actually my main brawler, I've gone for a Blade build. I love the Blade build. I think the Blade build is a very close second when it comes to the best brawling build, the best melee build in a game. And Fishlips, you do get him kind of late game, but you can get him early game as well. Now, course coordination is so important. He already has high speed, high strength is really important, and then pump points into intelligence for the crit damage. I think that's a good way to go for him. As you can see, I've obviously got a lot of melee combat. But again, with him, it is all about when you actually get him in the game, because if you do get him late game, and you can do an awful lot of the game before you do get him, then of course his stats and stuff are going to be everywhere. So I'm not really going to go too far into that. But this has been my team, and this has been my, how I would set up my team. I think this is a really good way to go. I think this team would actually lead you into late game. I think you can complete it on all difficulties as well. And I really don't think you guys would struggle too much with this team. If you guys have any thoughts about it, of course, let me know, because I always like hearing your guys' thoughts on my builds and my setups. And so, what do you do that I haven't done? And of course, if you have enjoyed this video, if you've learned anything, or maybe I've just entertained you, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to comment your thoughts, because like I was just saying, hearing your guys' thoughts really makes these videos actually worthwhile. I figured I would end this video on a little bit of gameplay of it in motion. Now, this isn't necessarily the hardest battle in the world, but it's just a simple idea of how well this squad actually works together. Now, this is quite late game. I think I'm just about to go. I'm not going to give too much of the story away, but I'm pretty late game into this. So these enemies are, kind of tough. I think every battle has its problems sometimes, but as you see, I deal with them very easily. This build can be absolutely devastating, and every single character can really get those. It's so nice. It's just nice to see it all working so well. I thought I'd show you guys as well. Anyway, I'll leave you with the end of this video. I have been a monk, and we've been particularly coolest. There will be more Wasteland videos coming really soon, and I will catch you guys soon.